Hello everyone. Hello. Welcome back, guys. Today we're doing a reading on the lessons you need to learn after the breakup. All right, so this is for anyone who has had a recent breakup or who has a breakup in the past that's kind of on their mind and they haven't really taken a chance to reflect on the lessons that need to be learned. And this is super important because if you want to be able to have the next relationship that is healthy, this is important for you to reflect on the past breakups, what went wrong, what lessons you need to learn in order to heal, what kind of healing you need to do, and then to be able to step into a new relationship with a much healthier mindset. Thank you all so much for commenting, subscribing, and liking my content. I really appreciate that. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes for people to join and let me know how my audio is so we can get started. So once again, we are doing lessons you need to learn after the breakup, and let's get started. Let me know how my audio is. How is my audio? Just want this a bit. Welcome everyone. Welcome. Let me know how my audio is, guys. If you can hear me loud and clear, I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you for the hearts. My guys, we will get started shortly. Okay. So let's get started. All right, so what I'm noticing is a pattern that's within you, that whenever you get into a relationship or whenever you get to know a person, you kind of get lost in it, right? You get consumed by this person, or you get consumed by the thoughts, what they think about you, or your focus is on trying to figure out, does this person like me versus do I like this person? Do I feel safe around this person? Is this person bringing value into my life? Right? So the lesson for you here is that whenever you get into a new relationship, you want to make sure that you remember that you are a priority, and remember that there's a reason why this person was attracted to you in the first place. Don't tend to overextend yourself to this person and to this relationship, and don't make this relationship your only thing that's going on for you, right? Making sure that you have other stuff that is happening in your life that brings you value and validation, not just this relationship and not just this person. Okay? So then you also need to remember that the lessons, there's always lessons in every relationship. Any relationship you will have different lessons, right? So let's look into your past relationships. So this could be a recent breakup, or this could be a breakup that has happened to you in the past and it's still on your mind. It's still kind of in the back of your mind, and you're hoping that this person will come around. So one thing that I want to remind you of is that breakups happen for a reason, okay? And whenever there's a pause, a silence, a breakup, distance in a relationship, that means that that person is not important to you anymore. That's what it's supposed to mean. And it also means that the person that does not think that you are important enough for you to remain in their life, you have lost value to that person in some way. And that should be your mindset as well. If someone has chosen to walk away from you, and they have chosen to show you that you have little to no value in their life, that should be a wake-up call for you to mirror back and reflect back what they're not giving you. If someone is not making you a priority, that means that you should say, okay, I'm I'm not going to be thinking about you. I'm not going to make you my priority anymore. You don't have any value in my life as well. Okay? So it's important for you to remember that whenever someone treats you a certain way, and it doesn't matter if this person has been in your life for a long time and you have a lot of history and you love them as much as you may love them, if they're not treating you correctly, that's it. You need to give it back to them. Okay? You need to match their energy. So whenever a breakup happens, that is the time for you to get back to yourself. And for a lot of us, what happens is we forget who we were or who we are before we got into this relationship. You know, for some of us who are still in relationships that are on and off, or you feel like you may be alone in this relationship, right? It could still apply to you, because this is really a process to learning who you are and learning what you stand for, and how you should show up in relationships. You know, you have to think about what kind of way you can present yourself to be exactly who you are in relationships and to the people that come into your life, right? How do I make sure that I unlearn the old patterns of giving myself to the other person without getting anything back? How do I make sure that I learn what healthy love is? How do I make sure that I don't just focus on relationship in my life, but I also focus on other areas in my life, such as my career, my business, my success, my fulfillment, my, self-prophecy, and etc. We all have big dreams, and we all deserve the life that we want. And because you might have never had gotten the validation in your life from your parents, from your friends, from your family, you're waiting for your significant other to give you that validation, or to make you feel complete and to make you feel whole. But that's not how it works. Another person can never make you feel happy. Another person can never make you feel whole and complete, right? Um, that's always depending on you. You are the only person that can make yourself happy. You are the only person that can make yourself feel complete. Your happiness does not depend on another person. It all depends on you. And also what you need to learn, what I'm saying is that you need to make sure that you learn how to navigate crisis in your life, right? So a breakup is a crisis. So whenever you go through a breakup in life and you feel lost, you feel confused, you feel like your life is over, um, you feel exhausted by having the need to start over. But this is also could be like a reflection to you that you need to make sure that you learn how to navigate crisis in your life. All right? And you have to think about, how were you taught how to navigate crisis? If you remember and you look around who you used to look up to, whoever your role model is, and you look around and see how they would act in a crisis, um, they would definitely make it devastating. They would make it as if they are not able to stay in control. So, whenever you go through a breakup or whenever you go through a crisis, you feel like your life is out of your control. You were taught that everything that happens to you is out of your control. To some extent, it is true. But the way that you react to any situation is totally and completely in your control. There are steps and actions you can take. They are in your control. No one can make you feel bad about anything unless you allow them to make you feel bad. So you are in control. So even though a breakup happens and you lose the person you love, you still have to remember that you are in control of your life, that new love will come into your life, that there are even things you can do to get back this person, right? Like the way that you are and the way that you act after the breakup also matters, right? You have to think about it. If you're one of the people who try to get back with your ex, and you're wondering how, and you're wondering why it's not working for you, that's because after the breakup, you acted as if your life depended on this person. That your survival depends on this person, that you're nothing without them. And that's a devastating mistake anyone can make. You do not want to make another person feel like you cannot live without them. That's not attractive, that's not romantic, and it's not something that you want to do in your future relationships, right? So that's a lesson that you need to learn from the breakup. The anxious side of you that gets activated after the breakup, you need to tame that, and you need to learn ways how to tame it. You need to learn the ways how to regulate your nervous system. All right, you need to learn your triggers. Do any of you know your triggers? Do you know what your triggers are when it comes down to romantic relationships? What triggers you to want to get back with your ex? What triggers you to wanting get someone who forgot about you a long time ago? What triggers you while you are in a relationship to chase and to seek validation? What are your triggers just as a person? How come someone can get you to act up and can get you out of your character? Those are your triggers. So making sure that you're taking the time to get to know your triggers. and to get to know what really makes you tick and your weaknesses is a pathway to success in relationships and in life in general. This does not only mean in romantic life, this could apply to business relationships as well. Because when you are able to remember that you are always in control, it's easier for you to walk in your power. It's easier for you to be confident, and it's easier for you to attract people in life. And it will be easier for you to get over a breakup. All right? So, life is not over after a breakup. That's the number one thing that you need to remember. Okay? Let's continue. Also, learning whenever you go through a breakup and it didn't work out, this is also a great way to learn um, if you are even being attracted to the right type of person in your life. Is the person who come into your life, is that, if that's even like the type that you should go for? Okay, you need to challenge the idea of who you need to be in a relationship with or who will make you happy. And this is like a great way to rebrand your love life, or like rebrand yourself, or give yourself a second chance at love life. You know, thinking about, not thinking about, oh, I lost the love of my life. I lost my soulmate. That's not the way you want to think, because if that's how you think, if you're thinking that you lost the love of your life because someone broke up with you, it will literally ruin your life. I mean, that is a depressing way to look at things. And you know, you don't want to do that. You always want to be an optimist, and the universe can always hear you. The energy does not lie. You want to make sure that you align yourself energetically. I have yet to meet my soulmate, or I have yet to meet the love of my life. You know, whatever you believe in. I have yet to meet my person. Whatever is coming my way is even better than I even imagined. Right? So you want to think positively. Um, and it really, really matters, because your thoughts really do affect the your life, or the taste for life, right? The way that you think about your future. If you are being optimistic about your future, it's much better. It's much more enjoyable to look into the future, rather than, you know, not, rather than reminiscing on the past, and thinking how much that person played you, or how much you were hurting, or how much it hurts the fact that they're no part of no longer part of your life. Okay, so there has to be a mindset shift, and this mindset shift will not only attract new love into your life, it will attract success. Okay, so, and you also have to, like, take whenever you take another person off of the pedestal, that's when everything makes sense. You have to take your ex off of the pedestal. Yes, at some point you loved them. Yes, you know, it was great. There's a lot of history. Yes, it was beautiful. It was romantic. But at the same time, if that person chose to walk away, or you had reasons to walk away from them, don't feel guilty. Don't feel ashamed. Don't let them come back to you without proving to you that they are worthy. And really think about if you should give people second chances. Because whenever someone does you wrong once, and if you give them a second chance, I promise you, that's like a door in. They're going to be like, oh, I can do this. I can do this all day, every day. They're not going to do anything. They're not going anywhere, right? So think back on the times when you had allowed this ex of yours to play you like a violin, and you thought that you were the bigger person. You thought that you were more emotionally aware, and by you staying, you were teaching them a lesson in love, in life. You're lying to yourself. A person does not learn by seeing that you allowing them disrespect you. A person who's around you and they could tell that you allow disrespect in your life will not respect you. They won't. You have to teach people how to treat you by actions, by how you react to them, how you respond to their disrespect. And second chances, it's pretty rare. It's pretty rare. It really depends on the context to give a second chance to a person. It never works out. And you could give them a second chance, and it will not work out in the way that you were hoping to work out. Okay? There's ways to do that. There's always ways around it, but I just want to be honest with you. Okay? And let you know the truth of a breakup. Whenever a relationship is done, most likely there's no need for you to give people second chances. And this is why you're so energetically still tied to this person, and you might be wondering, why am I not able to move on? Or, why is it that I fall for someone so quickly and they haven't even shown me anything? And I'm already imagining, being with them, and I'm thinking to myself and smiling to myself, and I barely know them, and I only know them for a week. Okay? That's because you have this concept that if someone treats you wrongly, you will accept it. You have this concept in your mind that people deserve chances, and we are all humans, and we're living this life for the first time, and they're still learning. You are not your partner's parent. You do not need to teach them how to live and how to treat someone with respect. I promise you, they know. Even if you look at your ex and and how they would treat you versus how they would treat other people, the people that they cared about, you saw the difference. The way that they would treat you was disrespectful, was mean, undermining you, did not care about your presence, took your presence for granted, did not care if you stayed or go. And then you're thinking to yourself, oh, this is how they are. I just need to be patient with them. I just need to show them patience. I just need to show them love. I need to show them kindness. Oh, I could see myself in them too. Sometimes I get mad too, right? Like you would keep giving them the benefit of the doubt. And then you spend some time around them, and then you would see how they would treat their friends or, someone else they cared about. And they had the ability to actually be respectful and hold their tongue. But when it came down to you, they would just let loose. And that's because you had allowed them to. And you had allowed them by staying, or by trying to talk through it, and trying to teach them how to treat you better. You can't do that. You just have to, walk away, distance yourself, have a consequence for their action, and etc. There's no talking about it. Disrespect does not need to be talked about. It needs to be addressed properly with consequences. That's the only way. That's the only way. And if it comes down to it, you walk away forever. Right? So this is just for you to think back on your past relationships and the breakup that has happened, and it depends on the context of the breakup. What lessons do you need to learn about yourself? And also remembering that it's never about them. It is always about you, because you are the one who is in control of your life. You are, believe it or not, the breakup happens because two people had agreed. Okay? Or two people let me rephrase that. Have contributed to the breakup. Right? Like, the breakup is always mutual. It's not because the one person wanted to leave, and it's because the dynamic of you and this person not working. It's not. And most likely, if you think about it, most likely, and it depends on the situation, but for a lot of us, it's not gonna work. Your ex is not gonna work out with anyone else, probably. But you, and I hope you're someone who's emotionally aware, and it's obvious that you are taking the time to get to know yourself, to heal, right? You want to make sure that you heal after the breakup, that you understand what went wrong in the relationship. And sometimes it's not even the dynamic, and the dynamic by itself, it did not work out. There's nothing you could have done to make them stay. There's nothing you could have done to make it work. But sometimes it really is the people that we choose. Okay? And also, once you start getting to know someone and you see the red flags right away, believe it. Believe it. Because if you look back on your past relationships and you're like, oh my gosh, I knew that this was not going to work out. Why did I even do this? Some people, they like hard lessons in life. That's how they learn. Even though they know better, they still go through the process. And that's fine. But I want to save you the time and the heartbreak. And I want you to start trusting your intuition and knowing that whenever you have a gut feeling that this person is not for you, there's a red flag, you need to walk away, right? And you need to stop giving people chances and the benefit of the doubt, right? So the lesson to learn after the breakup is to really ask yourself, what can you do to make sure that you select and you attract the right type of person in your life? Okay? And so a breakup is like a reset to your subconscious mind. And it's giving you a second chance at love life. and it's giving you a chance to meet your person. So it's actually a great thing. Don't look at a breakup as a devastating news. It's not. That means you are one step closer to finding the love of your life, or your soulmate, or whatever you believe in. Someone who will treat you like you are gold. I want you to find someone who treats you like gold. And it's a beautiful feeling once you find it and once you know how to spot it. Okay? So, healing after the breakup, reflecting on your part. What was your part in this dynamic? What could have you done differently that could even preventing from some of the things that happened between you and your ex? What could have your person done differently, or what you would have preferred for someone to do in the future in a relationship with you that will make you happier? So you always want to look at both sides. You never want to just blame the other person for something. All right, because if you stay in somewhere, and like I said, this depends, but if you're staying somewhere where there's disrespect, even though I know a lot of times what happens is it's easy to talk about it, but once you're inside of it, once you're inside of dynamic, it's hard to navigate if you don't have the right tools, if you don't have the right skills of confrontation. A lot of us don't know how to confront someone we love. Because when you think that when you love someone, you should not confront them about anything and that you should always keep peace. And I can promise you, the women or the man who are truly happy in their love lives, they're not afraid to confront with love their partners and tell them exactly what would make them happy. And if you ever try talking to your ex about something that was truly important to you, and your ex refused to listen, and sometimes it's hard to tell if a person you are with or were with, you might reflect back and think, whenever I tried to say something or communicate something, they refused to listen to me. In many cases, the other person is not even capable. They're not capable. They're not emotionally aware to understand you. So that's why I said sometimes there's nothing you could have done to save the relationship. They're not, your ex might have never had the emotional intelligence and the emotional awareness of hearing you out. Okay? They're just not there. You guys were not equally yoked. It happens. So now, what can you do differently in the meantime while you're single, or while you're healing from a breakup, to make sure that whenever you get into a relationship next time, how you want this person to show up for you? How well aware do you want this person to be? Right? So now you'll know that you want someone who's emotionally intelligent, who's emotionally aware, someone who's able to understand you, someone who's able to hear you out, and someone who's able to effectively communicate, right? Those are the 3 pillars of any good, healthy relationships, okay? Feeling like you are being heard, feeling like you're being seen, and feeling like you're being understood, right? Or properly loved. And communication is super, super important as well. Also, a reminder, it's important for you. A lot of us, what happens after a devastating breakup, right? Um, Let me finish my thought and I'll get to your comment. What happens after a devastating breakup? We, especially if it was a toxic relationship, right? Like yours, Lotto, we tend to then kind of try to humble ourselves and say, you know what? Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not even somebody important then. Maybe they were right. You start thinking the way that your ex would treat you, right? And you start to think that you need to settle down and go below your standards and choose someone who would not be your type, or someone who might treat you a little bit better than your ex, but it's still not what you want. Do you know, like you try to settle for the middle ground, and you don't go any higher than what you truly want, because your ex tried to humble you. Now you're like humbling yourself because that's what you were exposed to. That's why it's important to learn the skills and the tools and to do the shadow work to really understand your triggers and to really understand how to stop reacting and start responding. Okay? I dated a narcissist and she was very mean and hurtful with words I've never heard anyone say. I'm so sorry that happened. So, well, I don't know your situation, but emotional abuse is never okay. Emotional abuse is never okay. So, and I try not to label things. I try not to label people as narcissists or what have you, because then it gives them, it's almost like you've given them the excuse for the abuse. And there's no excuse, right? Um, and it's easier sometimes to label someone than to really just see the signs that this person was showing you in the beginning. That way you're able to recognize the signs without the label. Okay, don't get stuck on a label. Just learn how to spot the signs within human beings that are not safe for you. And learn how to recognize how your body feels. Learn how to read your body. A lot of people don't know how to read their bodies. Learn how to read how your body feels, or how your body would feel around unsafe person. Someone who is not treating you right. Your body will send you a signal, no matter how much your mind tries to justify it. And that's what our minds are logical, right? You have to remember that. Our bodies have the primal instincts that our mind doesn't. So whenever your mind is trying to tell you that this person deserves a second chance, or this person might not be that bad of a person, but your body is telling you, you could feel the anxiety around your chest, or you could feel the butterflies in your tummy, that means this person is not for you, or that means that you need to, you need to pay attention. You need to pay attention. She told me that I spend too much time with my grandkids and that was not acceptable. That's that's really such a crazy thing to say to a person. I mean, definitely is another. So what happens for a lot of us when we get into relationships, and it depends on the person that we get in a relationship with, but if you get into a relationship with a person who, as you said, like self-centered, or they are insecure, I think the best way to describe someone like that is insecurity. Okay? Or they have self-doubt, or they might have anxiety. I don't know your specific situation, but I'm just speaking generally from the comment. Whenever there's a self-doubt and anxiety, insecurity within your partner, there's no way the relationship will be healthy, and there's no way that you could be truly happy with this person, because you will try to do everything around this person to validate them, or to make them feel happy, or and there's nothing you can do, because the insecurity is within themselves. It's within them. And they're not insecure about you and about what you do with your grandkids, the fact that you're spending time with your grandkids. It's the insecurity that she felt within herself that made her feel like she's not enough for you, or made her feel like um, that she does not matter to you, right? So that's why she tried to tell you something as crazy as you spending too much time with your grandkids, because she's not even emotionally aware that she might feel inadequate in this relationship, or she might feel like she's not enough. She might feel like her self-worth is low, right? And instead of working on herself, she wants to bring something to your attention that, you know, if you didn't know any better, you would get caught up in a cycle of trying to prove to her that you do care for her. And that's how a lot of us get caught up in this toxic cycle of trying to prove ourselves to other people and to our partners. And it's impossible, okay? Choose one. If you don't choose between one of them, do you prefer love or respect? In romantic relationships, that's a lot of misconception that people have. They think that love comes first. No. I personally think that respect comes first. So I would choose respect, because respect is the foundation for love, and everything else that comes with it. That's why it's important to challenge yourself, the views that you may have on relationships, and on romantic relationships, and on love, because a lot of us are being exposed to the movies, of what love's supposed to look like, the roller coasters. If there's no drama, then there's no passion, then this person does not love me. If they're not fighting for me, if they're not arguing with me, if they're not being jealous, there's a healthy amount of jealousy. But if it's like over the top, and when there's over the top drama, and when this person is in and out of your life, I mean, once again, it depends on the relationship. But if the overall feeling makes you feel confused and disrespected, that's not love. That's my choice too. Yeah, definitely respect. And that's another lesson, that I even spoke about earlier, is definitely respect. Now, going into a new relationship, you can focus on making sure that the partner that you are with, or the person that you're getting to know, is showing you respect, treating you with respect, um, letting you live your life. They're not questioning you why you are spending time with your family. I mean, that is, you are allowed to spend time with your family as much as you want, and that's another thing, is that next time you could find a partner who's able to communicate to you that they are feeling a little bit distant from you, or they are feeling inadequate in a way that is not accusatory, right? Or in a way that it's not going to become defensive, right? Like she could have said, um, hey, I miss you. I would love to spend more time with you. Or even better, she said, hey, when are you free next time? I want to go to a picnic. Right? So whenever your partner is feeling like they want to spend more time with you, instead of accusing you of spending time with your grandkids, and being emotionally abusive because they're frustrated, she could have said, I would like to spend more time with you, or hey, I have a picnic. All right? So but once again, it's the dynamic. I want you to think of the relationship as a dynamic, as because it is. Um, and it's the dance that the two of you have had. The steps that the both of you were making in this dance did not match, and it didn't work out. Okay? And it's important to let go and heal. Respect means pure love. Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. So that is all I have for this reading. Thank you all so much for the comments, for the likes, for the hearts, and I hope you all have enjoyed it. And I will see you next time when I go live with the next topic. Bye.